Hello, everybody. Welcome to Better Together. When you know better, you get better. That is what we try to do here every single day. It is Tuesday, December 8th, 2020. Where has the year gone? Oh, we know. Oh, man. Our quote of the day: we must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. I mean, could this man have said anything more amazing? Like, everything he said was amazing. Martin Luther King Jr., everybody. Yesterday, everyone, I let you in on what we've been dealing with as a family. And I am grateful again for all of the incredible messages, all the posts, all the comments. Thank you so much for the prayers. They are working. I talked with my dad this morning. Actually, it was really funny. So I was rushing to go to Dunkin, and I FaceTimed him. And I go, "How are you doing, Dad?" And he's like, "I'm better today." And he goes, "Where are you going?" And I go, "You know." And he goes, "Coffee?" And I go, "Yeah, Dad, coffee." And I asked him, it was funny because, in Connecticut, if I missed coffee, even the window of timing of when I have it, because now I'm obviously addicted, I would get a really nasty headache. And so I asked him, I'm like, "Do you get headaches, Dad, now that you're in the hospital and you're not having coffee?" And he's like, No. But he doesn't ever say he has pain or anything.
He's a superhero. Yeah. So,
but yeah, it was really funny. So it has been a challenging time, as I discussed yesterday. I am definitely a little weak. I'm going to go get some immunity shots today, like actual injections at Cryo Healthcare, and try to boost myself up. I've been waking up with like these hives on my elbows and like kind of around my ankles and then my face. And so as kind of well as I'm handling all of this, it's still affecting me, obviously, in a pretty intense way. And we have been renovating our home, which was part of the reason that Kevin was like, "Just stay in Connecticut and we'll come to you guys for the holidays." He was like, "Let me finish the house here." And so we're racing to finish it so that when my parents do come home, it's ready for them. And now with the two of them, we need to quarantine the two of them, or will need to quarantine the two of them. So we made a wheelchair accessible first floor for my mom and bedroom. And so everyone's dropping like flies, getting sick, unfortunately. And really, it's now just literally Kevin finishing everything. Kelsey's going to be opening the gate nonstop for various.
That's right.
There's a contractor coming to fix the closet. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. The dogs are barking in the room behind me like crazy. Kevin's been living in that room. I've been living at the other house with Kelsey, and it's an empty house. She did go to Michael's and decorated a few things, which was very sweet.
We had to have some holiday cheer. It was sad in there.
But we've been using, Jeff, this like digital heaters because the heat broke and they're supposed to fix it today. And so we've been using these digital heaters. And if you know me, you know I hate reading instructions. And then I recently realized that every time I kind of ask Kelsey, she too hates it. So there were moments in this where I was like, "Can you just read what this pulse oximeter means? Like, what do the numbers mean?" Because I had to test my dad's fingers and his oxygen levels. And when it went to 88 and it was really bad, I was freaking out because I knew the doctor said don't let it go below 90. And I'm like, Kelsey, please read what this means. And she's like freaking out because she can't figure it out. And
I would like to step in for myself because I came through and watched a YouTube video.
Did you figure it out in the end? I don't remember now. I just know that I try to read it a million times, and it's literally, when I see instructions, it's like seeing like just blur. I don't understand.
I totally agree. And I feel like the instruction manual industry needs help.
It's
because
awful.
I feel like there's a solution, and Maria, you're the solution queen. Maybe that's our next industry is just being instruction book consultants.
Yeah.
Because there are ways we could make this good.
But I know, like Kelsey was going through the YouTube. Kelsey, you need to raise his volume. I can't hear him at all. But it was like such a challenge, and you're like in a panicked moment, right? But I hate reading instructions, and I forget where I was going with this. What was the point of this conversation?
Just the craziness, right? I mean, it's just the chaos of 2020. And here's what I'll say. If you don't believe that we care about our Heal Squad, the fact that we're on air right now, despite all of this, shows how much we love you and care about this show. So we're here.
Kelsey, do you remember why I was bringing up the instructions? Oh, the digital heater.
There she is.
Okay, so I have this freaking digital heater. Kevin gave Kelsey and I each one for our rooms. And it would get so hot in the room. And then I would shut it off and it would get so cold. And I know so cold for LA, like probably 40 degrees or something. I get it. There's a difference. But then you start to like feel like you're getting sick because the temperature changes are affecting you. And so I finally figured it out last night.
Do tell, please.
I went on YouTube. Actually, I researched for probably 2 hours. Actually, I think it was the night before. I can't remember. It's all blurring. But I researched the model, and it was almost impossible to figure out how to use this sucker. And then finally, I think it was a YouTube video. Anyway, I figured it out. I got the temperature to 70. And I was not like sick last night. I didn't feel awful. I didn't have to keep getting up and turning it on, turning it off. Like I haven't slept. And yes, part of it is due to the circumstances, but trust me, when you're exhausted after dealing with 8,000 doctor calls and, you know, trying to get your mom to talk on FaceTime and all of the things that I've been doing, you conk out. And I can only conk out for a second because the heater situation is not good. So last night, the temperature was actually controlled, and it probably will be my last night in that room. Maybe tomorrow we'll be getting the reprieve and be able to go home. But
how crazy.
But I just figured it out. And like I'm getting these hives and my body's so dry because of all of it. And I woke up, my face was like all swollen, and it's awesome.
You want to know my hack? I just stopped using the heater. I was like, she's not worth it. I was waking up with like my throat was so scratchy.
Really? Mm-hmm. But isn't it worse now?
No, it's been better.
Like if I breathe in cold air, it affects me really bad.
Yeah. I use these, it's like an Ayurvedic oil that I put in my nose.
Yeah.
So I've stopped spewing blood from my nose because it's cold. Oh my
God.
But yeah, I turned it off. It was bad, you guys. It was bad. But then Kevin got us a heated blanket, so that helped a lot.
Well,
I was just gonna say I love sleeping cold. I like my room as cold as it can be, like an ice box, and then just piling on blankets.
Well, I like it cold too, but that's too cold. So we're rushing to get the house ready. Kevin and I are racing from like, you know, all the stores yesterday to get everything that we need to get their rooms prepared and everything. And the floors got done. And Kevin had everything moved back in, and then we realized they didn't do the final satin coat. So we had to move everything back out, do the floors all over, not all over, but they had to do the final coats on it yesterday. I was like, this is insanity, a massive renovation. And then 2 COVID patients. It's absolutely insane, truly insane.
I'm sorry, I'm getting excited by this chat right now. Stephanie said that we can text her because she loves reading manuals.
Oh my God. Wait, I swear to God, I was going to text somebody this morning and ask them, I need help with this. Can someone help me with the CDC guidelines? Like I need to understand exactly what we're supposed to do to be safe when you bring a COVID patient home. So when the time comes and they can come home, I literally, like I said, it's a blur. Instructions are a blur. So yeah, Stephanie, you might be my girl. I'm going to like forward you the link, and then you can just call me and you can explain it to me. I need someone to talk to me and explain it. And then I need to be able to repeat it. Like I'll never forget in like American history class or something at Emerson, I'd be like, okay, so wait a second. Let me just get this straight. So Jeff and Kelsey produced the show, and okay. And then from there, they like upload it, and I have to just repeat it. Like that's how I learn. I don't know how you guys learn.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say, I feel like I'm the same way. I like to read and then discuss. In all of my study groups, we would always read it and then get together and then talk about it, because I feel like that's how I integrate, as we talk about all the time on this show.
Yeah. Well, before we get to our amazing guest, Patti Penn, who I mentioned on the show yesterday, has been there for me every step of this way. She has been sending Reiki healings to my parents, to me. We've done a lot of work together. She just was there for me. I didn't ask, she just showed up, and I'm so grateful. And I wanted to bring her on the show today to discuss some of the tools and techniques that we've been implementing. And like I said yesterday, once we get to the other side of this, because we are still in the hospital and still in process, once we get to the other side of this, you know me, you know I'm going to come up with like the COVID kit for you guys, and everything that I learned along the journey. It's funny. My friends who are producing this show that I've been working on, that would help people in health crisis, they literally texted me. They're like, okay, so now you just added like another notch in there, because now I've even dealt with like COVID crisis and figured out how to continue to care for people that you can't even be next to. I mean, I was doing 24-hour FaceTime visits where I just was with them and monitoring and watching. And I'm going to share all of it and how I did it and how you can do it too. And help you in your journey. But you know, there's a lot that I learned that I think will be really helpful. And so I really think that that's why I'm here, not just on this show, but I think in life, when I look back at the through line of my life, it's always been a mission of mine to help people. And so I will continue to do that. And now I just have a whole other set of lessons under my belt for you guys.
That's
Beautiful way to look at it, though. If we can be learning and teaching, that's kind of what life's all about.
Yeah. Well, you know what's interesting is a cousin of mine texted me this morning. I'll share this with you guys. So my cousin texted me this morning, and she was saying how, you know, it's been such a crazy year, and she's gone through a lot of health struggles as well. And she said, you know, when it rains, it pours. Sometimes I wonder why bad things happen to good people. I just don't get it. And I said, here's the answer to your question. That's life. Not to be Frank Sinatra, but that's life. We shouldn't be shocked when problems arise. That's just life. How would we learn to have faith or believe in God if we never needed him? We just need to roll through them with as much grace as possible.
That's beautiful. And it's so true. That's the upside of challenges, is that they make us better. Mm-hmm. And that's the thesis statement of this show, right? Mm-hmm. It's, you know, I think it was Elizabeth Gilbert who says, like, if you feel yourself struggling, like, congratulations, you're on the verge of a beautiful breakthrough. So that's the optimism.
Yeah. And by the way, Dr. Rao, if you haven't listened to the episode with Dr. Rao, he helped me so much through this. Good thing, bad thing, who knows? And don't feed the wolf, feed the dog. I had a situation with a family member. I was feeding the dog, and then I fed the wolf. And I was like, I did it again. I did it again. But now I'm aware of it because of Dr. Rao. But good thing, bad thing, who knows, has been applicable through this entire journey. You would think that COVID is just a bad thing, but there were good thing, bad things, who knows? You know, there were things that, you know, now that my dad's in the hospital, that got better because we had to make adjustments that we were going to have to deal with, and we may not have figured out. So good thing, bad thing, who knows? You have to keep that mentality. First of all, it's the only way to be. Otherwise, you're going to run yourself sick into the ground, and all of that negativity is just going to attract more. So good thing, bad thing, who knows really, really helped me. If you haven't listened to that episode, Jeff, do you know what episode number it is?
I think it's 177, but it's really recent in our feed.
We'll
so you know what I'll do? Put it in the description.
I think it's 178, but yeah, very close.
But now, guys, it is time. And Jeff, I really think we should come up with a jingle for this. It's time for our Better Together Dunkin' pairing, because breakfast and coffee, I've got mine here, I've had some of it already, are better together. So today we're pairing the bacon, egg, and cheese. You can see I only had a bite of it so far. The bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich with 100% Colombian coffee. You know Dunkin' does their breakfast right. I used to be super addicted to the bacon, egg, and cheeses, and I used to do them on croissants. Now I'm on the English muffin. Cherry wood smoked bacon, egg, and melty American cheese. Magnifico. The Dunkin' 100% Colombian roast is a fabulous new limited edition brew from Dunkin'. It's a single origin coffee blend. And they source all their beans from Colombia, which is the coffee capital of the world. So you will taste a well-balanced brew. It is a perfect pairing with the bacon, egg, and cheese. Of course, I had to taste it before I jumped on together because I was running a little behind FaceTiming 18,000 sick people, because there's also more people on my list, unfortunately, that I'm having to navigate with. But yeah, I definitely, this is my best friend every day.
I know. I'm drinking this Colombian roast right now, and I gotta say, there's something really distinctly full about it, but it's not too bitter. I feel like sometimes when you have that kind of rich coffee, you can have that bitterness, but
yeah,
this is somehow still kind of light, but still really full.
Well, that's why I don't like some of the other places. I don't know if I'm allowed to like totally be honest about this in like the middle of a partnership, but I, on the show, I voice my distaste for some of the other coffee companies out there. And I obviously am a true loyal Dunkin' fan and have been for life, which is kind of funny, by the way. I have these amazing mugs that we made up, but I have my water in here because like I keep my coffee in my cup. But that's why I love Dunkin', is because it is silky and it isn't bitter. Like these other ones are so heavy and bitter and gross. And I don't know. I think this is the best.
I'm digging this sandwich. I gotta say, it is, like you said, Maria, a classic American breakfast. And sometimes with these frozen sandwiches, you feel skeptical about the egg. Like you're like, I don't know where this came from. And I can tell this is like legit good, like pasteurized eggs. This is really good.
That's a good point, Jeff, because I always feel like I'm like, oh, the egg's going to be scary. The sausage or whatever is going to be scary. It's not.
No, you've been eating the power breakfast sandwich without the bread because you can't eat the bread. And I think the egg is so delicious.
So good.
But today I opted for the bacon, egg, and cheese because I was like, I think I'm going to need something like.
And it's perfect with the Colombian coffee.
Yeah, like you need that extra, like that maple bacon taste. I don't know. Anyhow, let's get to Patti because I really want to share some of the stuff that we've done. And, if you haven't heard her on the show before, she's a globally renowned Reiki and healer and the founder of Pause and Joy Awareness and Lifestyle Program, which offers dynamic camping, Reiki, meditation, and breathwork. Patti was featured in the critically acclaimed Heal documentary that we've talked about on this show forever and ever, and we loved. She uses powerful techniques to bring her clients healing, and she's here today to share some of the techniques that she has used with me and to shed some light on how we can find gratitude and comfort. Patti, thank you so much for being here with us today.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for having me, Maria. It's been a long haul these last few weeks.
I know. And like I said, you just showed up. Like there are a few people when I've been in crisis that I will text and say, can you send some healing energy? Some like, because I just know you're pure. My friend John Amaral is pure. Like you guys will send like pure, my friend Vicky, send pure light. And from then on, you just checked in with me every single day. And before I'd know it, we'd hang up the phone and she had been on the phone with me for 90 minutes, 2 hours, coaching me and guiding me and helping me. And I can't thank you enough. And I have to be careful because I don't want to get emotional. But I'm really grateful and I love you and I'm really, really thankful. So I don't even know where to start because we had so many breakthroughs, but maybe the first thing is is you saw a live Instagram that I had done while I was in Connecticut. I was having a real anxiety moment. I had had a psychic reading, and this psychic had told me some pretty horrific things were coming. I won't say what they were, but you can use your imagination. And it was really rattling because this person just kept repeating it. Like there was like I did it for fun, right? Like if I'm going to do like if I really need to know something, I'm calling John Edward, right? That's who I'm calling. And he's my friend, so I don't want to waste my moments when I call him, right? So there were just fun moments. I had a friend who was like, oh my God, remember this person from years ago? I'm about to do a reading. She says she has an extra slot. You should do it. I'm like, okay, sure, cool. Let's do it. Let's have a little bit of fun. And Patti warned me about having fun with psychics. And so anyhow, I was anxietied and I was freaking out about this. And because she spent the good portion of my hour-long call reiterating that these horrific events were going to take place with horrific endings. And Patti...
Which is not normal.
Which is not normal. Yeah, that's been confirmed by multiple people.
You've had enough readings to know that.
Yeah. And so you, in your message, you posted a comment and you said you need to reverse it. And I remember when my mom fell ill with COVID, I remember John Edward texted me and he reached out to me because he saw me tweet for prayers. And I said, can you reverse a psychic reading? And he said, it's your story. He's like, you are in control of your story. And sometimes people are sent to send messages so that you can prepare or do better or something like that. And then you jumped in, Patti, and you were like, oh, no, we need to like legit reverse this. So explain to everybody what that means and how the everyday person can actually do that.
Well, what we're doing is we're exchanging beliefs. You may elicit a friend to really believe in your project or your innovation, right? Say you're coming up with an idea to start a new business in the climate that we're in. Well, you don't want naysayers around, do you? You don't want people that's going to just poo-poo your idea or, and some people rise above that and they're like, I'll show them, right? I'll show them it's going to work. And other people are like, yeah, the majority will be, especially if it's a family member, because they're not that people are seeking permission, but if they're new to this, they are going to first audience, as you would call it in entertainment, right? You're going to first audience to see, do you think this is a good idea? Like, I've had this idea for a storyline. What do you think? And someone's like, I think you should look at that. I think you should pursue that. So, or you're like, yeah, that's been done before millions of times. It's never going to work. So, so that's what I mean by exchanging beliefs. So if someone really you want the people that really believe in your idea or whatever around you, because you want in those type, when someone's so vulnerable and they're coming out with something, you want people who are your cheerleaders, or you want people who are backing the idea, not the people that are giving you the side eye energetically. And it can be quite rattling. I remember many years ago when I was doing Post Joy, and one of my dear friends, I was at lunch and he said to me, I don't get it. And I said, get what? And he said, you're writing these books, you do this, you do the tapping, you do the Reiki, you do all of it. And you're just all over the place. So that was his belief in what he was seeing with me. And I said, well, that's because you don't see the genius in it. I said, but that's okay. And then 3 years later, he emailed me when I put up a new website, and he was like, oh, I can see how it all ties together now. So we have these people that are in our life, and it's sometimes coming from their own insecurities. Yeah. and their own fears that are what we call projected. But what was happening with you, and I could see how energetically rattled you were on the show by it. And I'm not quite sure, you can tell me, did you say what the person had said, or did you just imply?
I implied just like now. I was not specific because I didn't want to give it a voice.
I knew as well, and probably the viewers knew. But it really rattled you, and it was very definite, and it was very by the end of this year, and I was like, oh no. So that's a belief that she is, I felt, was imposing on you for you to buy into, right? Everybody wants us to buy into something. Like when you go to your grocery store, when you go to Dunkin' Donuts, wants you to buy into their coffee. Dunkin' Donuts wants you to buy into their donuts.
I do, Patty. Right? I do. I love them.
let's get them in.
This is the source of my happiness right now.
But you know what I mean? It's like when you're buying any kind of product, they want to say that theirs is better than, and they spend a lot of money doing it, because they are buying your belief in their product, which is then you energetically with your money, because, you know, they always say money's energy. So you are then putting your money behind that product. So when she had said this, and I could see how it rattled you and you just couldn't get out of it, that's when I called you when I was up at the park with the dogs. And I said, okay, we're going to reverse this, but I need your permission to reverse this, to send this back to this person. And for whatever reason, why she did it, you know, that's why I called.
Yeah. So you had said to me that someone could be taking something they know is coming to them and giving it to you.
Yes, deflecting it.
Deflecting. I've never heard of that before, and I really wanted to share that.
No, because it's all so subtle.
Yeah. Well, because think about it. Like, I remember years ago, Kevin walked, down the street. There's like this little psychic, card reading place, like, the little, and this woman was like, you have a curse and I can remove it in 10 sessions for $5,000 or whatever. Like, they do that kind of thing. I'm like, Kevin, get away from these people. Right. But there are so many of us that in tough moments look to psychics for answers and for help. And I didn't realize how discerning you had to be, like how you had to be very careful about who you go to, because that could happen.
Yes. Because, the people that are really doing great work and guiding people in their business, in their family, in everything are really amazing. But, this is not to say that this person even knew that this is what they were doing. Because it's like, say I have a fear, and you're starting a great idea and you're launching it. And I'd be like, well, if it doesn't work, Maria, you can always go back to being better together with Maria. Because my fear of you going into orbit is projected upon you. So now you have, and you're like, oh well, okay, well, I was really feeling it. But, I could always now I've got one foot in the door and one foot out the door. Mm-hmm. Whereas before I was really in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I was saying by this woman may not even know that that's what she was doing, because she was in her own fear of, say, maybe COVID or her own fear of something. And then she just kept on saying, you know what? This is the bad thing that's going to happen to you, and it's going to happen by the end of the year.
But the wild part was she said the exact same thing an hour before to my friend.
Well, then it's shady.
Do you know what I'm saying? The exact same predictions were given to my friend 1 hour before in exact detail.
Yes. And that... that's suspect.
Yeah.
But then how do you shake it?
That's my thing. How do you shake it when, for me, that's my greatest fear, right? And so it was definitely one of those things where I'm like, okay, I got to do all the work around this. I got to try. And then that was creating a lot of anxiety because you're trying to, not feel this, not focus on it, but you're thinking of it. And so how does the average person, when they are in that fearful moment and they have someone has said something or, something like this has happened to them, how do you reverse it?
Well, reversing it is a little bit more than just kind of like, oh, reverse it, reverse it, reverse it. There's a little bit more entail with us discussing certain things and who this person was and connecting into that energy of whatever needs to go back consciously to that person or unconsciously, whatever way it was sent to you. But for people right now, I think just asking yourself, why am I making this person more powerful than me? Why am I giving this person more power than
God?
My connection to God? Why am I allowing them to be more powerful than me? Mm-hmm. And that can even be the used the same way in social media, where people are attacking people. And you have to ask yourself, why am I giving this so much power? Where am I disconnecting and giving this all of the power energetically? Because it's all energetics. And I think this is something in the next part of our evolution, especially after this month, we're going to start to become much more energetically aware and less tolerant of the things that people usually used to get away with saying and doing. Because you were like, oh, well, it doesn't really matter. It does matter, because or you wouldn't be wanting to have the good people around you when you're doing the good stuff. Mm-hmm. Or not wanting, I don't want to tell people because I don't want people putting the evil eye on it, or I don't want their jealousy, and I don't want their envy. This is all energy.
I do that all the time. I'm so nervous, about that.
It's like people that have babies, a lot of people do not say anything in the first trimester of that they're pregnant, for a certain reason. They don't want that energy because it's a lot. Mm-hmm. It's a lot. And people are some people are much more energetically sensitive than others. It feels dense. Sorry, let me Mr. Magic out. So,
oh my!
You like him in the picture?
What's his name?
Archie.
Archie, you're so handsome, Archie.
Archie Parker, because he's a nosy Parker.
Oh my God, he's so cute.
I know.
I love him.
The other one's now wandering around. He'll be up in a minute as well. So I think, animals are very sensitive. I went into the park a few weeks ago and these guys were talking about how really it's never really the animals, it's really the humans. And if you just watch, if you watch the energy of the human, you know how the dog's going to react. So then the guy asked me, what do you do? Because your dogs are so they're not bothered by the big dogs or whatever. I said, well, that's what I do. I work with energy. And then he was like, oh, okay. But and he was using his language around energy that he used, and he was an ex-policeman.
Wow.
So people know energetically, and this is something I actually spoke to a journalist in Paris recently about this, because there's been many occasions where police have said, something was just off with that suspect, with that person, just recently with the Manchester bombings that happened during the Ariana Grande tour. Some of the people who were talking, they said they knew there was something not right about this guy.
Oh,
it was like something, they could feel it. And they went to the guards and said, there's something not right with him. So what is that? We're always picking up on energy.
Yeah.
The vibration when someone's got I don't like their vibe. I saw a really great tweet the other day. and it was someone saying, can you keep 6 feet back from me? And the person was like, why? I'm wearing a mask. And they said, because I don't like your energy.
That's funny.
You know, and it was this little thing, because people really are becoming very aware energetically how someone is saying something to them, but they're feeling something completely different emanate from them. And people use that a lot in business. You know that.
Yeah.
In business, people are like, you know what? Something doesn't feel good to me. Something's not aligned. Something's not kosher. There's another word for it. So I'm gonna pass.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but it's my gut hunch response. You know, these are the things that when we start to tune into our body, you know, our body tells us. It's like, how many times has your back went out when you're being around certain situations, and you're like, oh, my body's like even telling me, you know, this person doesn't have your back.
Ooh. Wow.
I'll leave that one with you.
Wow.
Who's the pain in the neck?
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, when people have a lot of neck pain, you know what I mean? I was fine, I was striving. I was like doing nothing, and all of a sudden I got this pinch. But I was thinking about this person who didn't say anything, but I was getting this vibe from them all week, you know, and I don't understand what that was. I thought they were happy for me.
Yeah.
So it's being able to be like, you know, why am I giving this more power than I need to? Why am I fixated on this? And then you can pull back your focus. These are the two things that you've got. You've got belief and you've got focus, and you have choice. So you choose where you decide to do a U-turn.
Yeah. How do you...
Which we did a U-turn.
Yeah. I feel like I would love for people to learn. Well, the one thing that you did say was point of creation reversed. You told me to keep saying that to help reverse the energy, right? So point of creation reverse. So anytime I had a bad thought come in, or that person came in, reverse it. To this moment, anytime I see her, I point of creation reversed. Go away, go away, go away, go away,
go away. Yes.
But then,
and or even having that U-turn moment to that other person with, you know, with good-heartedness. Not like, this is not my baggage. I picked up the wrong baggage at the carousel. This is not mine.
Yeah.
I don't know why. And you even said to me, I don't even remember having a reading with this person years ago. And my friend had said to me, no, we did. And that is a tell. When you don't remember something like that you've had a reading with this person before, then you need to be like, what part of my consciousness is not remembering it, has erased it, and maybe that's not a good person for me to reconnect with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think now my biggest lesson in all of this is no psychic readings. But if I ever want one, it would be John that I call, and that's it. And when he's
valuing what John does.
Yeah.
And valuing the professionalism, the connection that John has. And even if John was frightened about something that he saw with your parents, he would have had the finesse or a way of delivering that was not anxiety ridden for you.
Yeah.
In a way that he could turn around and say, you know, I would be a little bit more careful around people when your mom's going to the hospital, maybe stick in a hazmat suit. You know, these are things that psychics would say subtly to maybe them seeing something that could end up in something bad rather than what she said.
Yeah. Well, and I think, you know, I remember when my mom first got diagnosed, I called him and I remember him saying to me, I see 2. he's like, I don't know. And I don't know how he explained it. But I think it was kind of like, I don't know what that means right now, but I see 2. And I'm like, 2? What the heck? She's going to have 2 brain tumors? I was the second one.
Yeah.
And so he's always been so right. I think where I have gone wrong, and hopefully this is helpful to our audience, is sometimes I've looked at it as a fun thing. So when it's serious and I really need to know something, I know I go to John because I value him and I respect him and I know he's the best. But like sometimes I just do fun things. I like to when I do a show like this, I bring on different people. I experience different things. I like to explore, and I'm never, ever doing that again. I feel like Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz. I am never, ever, ever leaving home again.
But you, when something does come up and a person does come into your life that has a message for you or has a reading for you, you'll know when that feels right as well. It's not that you have to go around protecting yourself from that. But, going back to that first point of, like, say I went to someone and I couldn't remember them and someone said to me, you went to them. And I'd be like, but why can't I remember going to them? That's odd. No, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
So this person didn't leave an impression before.
Yeah. But she remembered me. And she kept saying that. And I'm like, how? This person's like an older person. Anyway, I will say when I was in the car ride heading to the hospital, right when I landed, I mean, I felt like someone chopped my legs off. It was horrifying. And I was just in the back of the car saying, please God, no, please God, no, please God, no, praying that my mom was going to be okay. And because she was not okay when they rushed her to the hospital. I called my priest and I started telling him what I had done. I said, I think I did something really bad by doing this reading. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, no, you didn't do anything bad. You're fine. And so we just started praying together. And so, because I was a little guilty because sometimes these things aren't like really in line with what we believe in church and stuff like that. And so I was like, oh no, am I responsible? But he was really kind in that moment. And now the other thing I want to talk about, Patti, is for the people out there who are listening right now, who are in the same situation. I mean, COVID is exploding all over our country right now. How do you guide them? How can you help guide them like you've been helping guide me through this? I mean, you sent me the Gregorian chants. I had them on the phone with my mom, and I was singing them right alongside her because she and I used to sing in church choir. And it was soothing to me. Even when I wasn't on the phone at some point with her, I would just listen to them. But I'd love for you to share with people a little bit about that so that they have some coping mechanisms.
I think right now, for someone to start is just to be recognizing their breath. I think a lot of people are holding their breath.
Yeah.
They're not even knowing that they're holding their breath for 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And when we start to hold our breath, we start to starve the brain of oxygen. And then we start to take anxiety and panic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's that. I think recognizing when you're down in the dumps, let's put it that way rather than saying depression, right? It starts with, I feel out of sorts. Yeah, I did a tapping thing on Sunday on IG. It's on there for people. And there's a whole load of tapping that I did at the beginning of all of this with people and with the community. But it's this feeling that you are, when you're out of sorts, when you don't feel aligned, when you or you're beside yourself, right? That's because energetically you're not really fully in your body. You're kind of checked out, right? So how can I get myself? Because I don't want to be here with what's happening to my restaurant. I don't want to be here with what's happening, with my family. I just don't want to be here. But if I'm not here, and I'm not dropped in, I'm maybe not breathing as fully as I can do. I'm starving the brain of oxygen. So I think just taking those moments in the car, if you're in the car and you're going to the grocery store, and just having that moment where you're kind of breathing consciously, because it's something that we can do, something we do unconsciously.
Mm-hmm.
So really kind of taking that focal point of being like, I'm going to really focus as I'm driving here and really focus on my breathing. So that is something that you're integrating into your life. It's not an add-on like, oh my God, now I need to do breath work. Now I need to do a yoga thing. Now I need to do my meditation. And I don't have time. So I think just integrating the things that you can do while you're going about your day. Some people, feel like they need to scream.
Yeah.
Now, if you're living in a condo or an apartment, screaming is going to annoy your neighbors, right? So again, if you're in the car, you can be like driving. I always say to my students, if you're driving along Fountain, that's a great place to scream.
Yeah.
So you're driving along Fountain Avenue and you're kind of like, just let it out, or singing, even if it doesn't matter if you don't have a good voice or good voice, right? Just putting on, your favorite song that you can belt out so that you're getting that energy and you're getting that out of your system. So these are things that will help, kinetically move some energy that's, and also kind of knowing that, you may be eating a lot of junk right now. People are, and knowing that they can be like, okay, I'm eating right now, and maybe I need to get an apple with some peanut butter rather than eating 5 packets of chips. I'm not saying, just being like, what can I do? I'm craving something sweet right now. And adapting and having things in that you can pick on, that's a little bit more healthier, because just like, when you eat too much sugar, it inhibits the immune system.
Yeah.
And the immune system needs to be strong right now for everybody. And being, at the beginning of this, we did, I think it was a meditation. It could have been some tapping. And we I think it was part of the 21-day meditation that I did. And it was, the mantra that day was, I am as strong as an ox.
Ooh, I like that.
And actually next year is the year of the ox.
Oh, that's cool.
In the Chinese. So we're moving from this year of the rat, and rat was always the thing that carried disease. No,
it was not.
Ox.
This was the year of the rat.
This was the year of the rat. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I started talking about it in February. I banned touching each other at the circles and stuff in February. And then in January, I had put out in the newsletter, I had me and Bansky's rat. And I was like, guys, rats carry disease.
Wow.
And we've got this thing coming. So just be careful. Don't shake people's hands. Don't do this, bow, say namaste to people, when it wasn't a thing. And people were told that they offended people.
Yeah,
because they wouldn't shake someone's hand. And
it was hard at first, for sure.
It was hard. So that, and then the people would apologize to them. So later, when it all happened. So I think getting back to what can people do right now is know that this is temporary. This is a temporary situation. And how am I going to get through this temporary situation?
Yeah.
It's only when we think, things are really kind of permanent. Kelsey had said the other day that, some people, that part of their therapy was going to spin classes, right? Was going to their gyms.
Yep.
Were going to, that's another part of mental health that, has been taken away from people. But, there's this is a time when a photographer is developing a photograph, they have to go into the dark room because the photograph doesn't develop in the light. So we're in the dark room right now, and it's what we're going to develop in ourselves. And maybe you need to develop self-discipline.
Mm.
By not maybe being like, you know what? Why do I always have to do a Zoom yoga class? Maybe I can do a home practice. I know the sun salutations, so I'm just going to do that. Or, you know what? I know how to do certain ab workout, or I know how to do certain Pilates stuff. Or if I don't know, there's YouTube for beginners.
Mm-hmm.
For yoga, Pilates, meditation, and I'm just going to kind of check it out. Kelsey had said that she enjoyed boxing. And I was like, maybe you should get one of those inflatable boxing things and just punch it or get a baggie, that you can put up in your house. And, these are just, it's like, how do you approach this in the moment?
Yeah.
I get it. Everybody wants to just go take the Duracell batteries out and go like this, like the bunny. But when you start to see yourself sleeping a little bit longer, because it creeps in, the depression, the down in the dumps, let's call it that, right? It creeps in. It doesn't all of a sudden you wake up and you're like, oh my God, I think I have depression. It's all little things. You stop playing your guitar. You stop listening to your favorite music. You stop doing your singing vocals. You stop doing your the thing that you loved because of this, because then you're giving it the power. So although they're telling me I can't go to my gym right now, I'm gonna do it here at the house.
Yeah, it's like what you can do.
What I can do rather, and that's your focus again, and what you believe.
But that's why I think what you're saying is so important. It's about having some discipline, right? Even going back to the sugar thing, right? Like I cut sugar, I think it was probably a month ago now, right at the right time when I was going to need the immunity that I needed, and the strength that I needed. But when we think about all the desserts and all the sugary stuff, like I haven't cut sugar 100% out of my diet. I'm just not having sweets or any of that stuff. I'm really, I've cut that all out. But you have to think of how you're going to keep your body strong. And again, speaking to those people who are in health crisis right now and giving them a toolbox, that's so important because you have to stay strong if you're the caretaker, if you're the one in charge. And so you surround yourself with people like Patti and Kelsey who are going to keep you strong mentally, emotionally, physically, so that you can keep on keeping on rather than bringing people around who are going to be like, poor you, this is horrible. Why is this happening to you? Why is it your family has so much crisis? Because those are the narratives that could easily be applied here, right? I mean, my dad's type 1 diabetic has almost died 1 million times in his life. My mom has stage 4 brain cancer. They now have COVID. I had a brain tumor. Why is this all happening to you? That it could be an easy narrative to tell, but I'm not surrounding myself with people who are saying that. I have people who are holding me in, prayer and light and love, and I'm feeding myself good 99% of the time. I loaded up my fridge with some green juices so that if I didn't have time to eat, I could grab one of those and I knew I was powering up my body with nutrition. I think that's such an important point for people to understand is the discipline for yourself so that you can be strong for everyone else. And then there was another thing that my friend Vicky, she's an osteopath. If you guys don't know each other, you need to. She said to me, oh, she's amazing. And she was like, our priest had always said, you have to pray for strength. Don't pray for the other stuff. Pray for strength to handle the day, to handle the crisis at hand, to handle whatever it is, because with strength, you can do it. So you have to think about your body in that way as well. Like today, I'm going to go get some immunity shots because I know I'm teetering a little. I'm tired. It's been 2 weeks of, very long, very challenging days. And I know I need, a little bit of assistance. So.
Yes. And I think even like taking some lemon water in the morning rather than starting with your coffee, just to flush out the kidneys, is the best thing you can do for your body. Like last night, I made some ginger and turmeric tea, and just put it in a big jar so that I can just heat it up, throughout the day. These are the things, but that's discipline.
Yeah.
Right. And it's also then going into self-love.
Yeah.
Because we have to do it for ourselves. And it's the hardest thing, because sometimes we have all of these studios and we have all these places that we went to for someone to discipline us.
Ah, yes.
And I'm all about, in my teachings, is I'm not the fishmonger. I'm going to teach you how to fish, and I'm going to give you these tools, and you're going to be able to tap on yourself. You're going to be able to do Reiki on yourself, your dog, your cat, your mom, your uncle, all of them in the family. Like, I don't even need to work on a whole family. I just need to work on one of them. By osmosis, I affect the rest of the family.
Yeah. Yeah. When you tapped into my mom, you even said, my mom, you were so right on about everybody in my family, which was crazy. Amazing. This is why you're so great at what you're doing. You're a genius. But you were like, she wants her grandchildren, and you need to you need to make that happen. And so because of that, that was another thing. I think I might've mentioned it yesterday. I was about to put on the back burner for a second, it was just final signatures to move forward. And I almost put it off because
I didn't know.
I know.
Because I was talking to Kelsey yesterday, and when I got the message, not the message, the conversation that I had with her when she was in the place that she was in, when people are, when I'm sending energy to someone, it's not like, oh my God, let me send you good vibes. It's like a process for me to sit down. It's like, oh, send me some good energy. And I'm like, do you want me to send you energy, or do you want me to just send you a good thought?
Yeah.
So when I tapped into your mom, I was like, I asked for a photograph so I could really, on one that you chose and your dad. And I looked at the photograph, and I knew what hospital she was in. And I was like, oh, she's not in her body, which is normal for me. You see, the thing is, I've created a community where this conversation's very normal. So when I was like, oh, she's not in her body, she's teleported, she's astral projected, whatever you want to call it, she's in her happy place. And usually when people have went through stuff in their life, trauma, anything, they know how to eject from the body. And your mother was in that place. And and she was so serene and just like, oh, I'm in my happy place. And I was like, so like almost kind of like a, when you go in a medically induced coma, she was in an energetically induced coma by herself.
Yeah. But what was important about knowing that for me was, in this realm, she's not communicating, and we're terrified.
Exactly.
And you're like, no, she's okay. She's over here. She's healing. Yeah. And that's important for people to understand too, that happens. And you were right. My mom has dealt with many traumas in her life. So she is used to teleporting and that whole thing. When I spoke to her, I asked her, telepathically, I said, so, how long are you going to be here? And she said, she said, well, motivate me to come back. And she said, I want the babies. And I was like, oh, how do I say this to Maria the next day? Like, because I didn't know your situation. I didn't know if you were trying for babies or you didn't. I'm just going to plug in my thing. Don't worry.
Sorry. Did you, are you having babies? Is there an issue? I didn't know that you were going through surrogacy. So I when I called you, I said, listen, I don't want to pry if this is private. And you were like, oh, no, it's open. I've got the paperwork, but I haven't signed it. I went, oh. I said, you need to sign that paperwork, and you need to sign it as a in front of your father, like he's the notary, like, look, Dad, I signed it, and then you have to show it to your mother.
Yeah.
You know, when you were FaceTiming with her when she was non-responsive.
Yeah.
Or when I don't know if she was responsive at that time, or she was coming in and out of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
I think she was coming in and out, right?
Yeah.
At that point. But when you showed it to your father, he got really emotional, right?
Yeah, he was very excited. He was really excited.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing that you said, that was interesting was with my dad. You said he's a step behind. He's not in the present. And I found that so fascinating, because being a step behind is like there's a big layer of denial. And I think this is so helpful for people to understand. My dad, instead of saying he's as strong as an ox, from a little girl, I always heard him say, I'm strong like bull, right? And so my dad is 76 officially. His birthday was on Sunday. And he can outwork any 20-year-old. He never says he's in pain. He says, I don't have diabetes, Maria. I don't have COVID, Maria. Like, he never has anything. And so there's a healthy side of that where he's not attached to these labels. He's not attached to these things. But the denial of where he's at is bad. And I think that's so important that you said that. And I shared that with him. I said, Dad, Patti said that you are a step behind. And I explained it to him. I said, so you are denying your age. You are denying that you need to treat your body a little bit better. So I said, so when the doctor gives you iron pills for your anemia now, maybe you can be more present and say, wow, I'm 76. I have some anemia issues. If I don't take these pills, it's going to have a cascading effect, because it has had a cascading effect. Dad, when the doctor gives you pills for this other issue, you have to take them. I shouldn't have to be in the position to be yelling at you to take care of your body and your health. I have the best doctors for you. I'm on top of all the appointments. You have to do your part. And so it actually, like, it hit him. I said, you're not acknowledging where you're at. You are not 40 anymore. You're not 50 anymore, and you're not 60. And I think that message is something that a lot of, especially men, probably carry, because they're, they always want to be strong and powerful, and they want to be like our protectors and our dads and whatever. So I share that as well with everyone.
But that's why they get so stressed as well.
Yeah.
That's why they get so stressed, and they have, heart attacks and strokes and all sorts of things, because they hold everything in. I actually did a tapping for men, specifically for men, at the beginning of the COVID. Because people were telling me, my dad's saying this, my uncle thinks he feels as if he's just going to lose it. He's trying to keep himself together. And I think you need to do a tapping thing that's specifically for men who, in the everywhere in the world, feel that they can't be vulnerable, and that they, had this added pressure to hold it together. So I when they're inside, they're shutting down or losing it. Mm-hmm. So I think that, or snapping, So I think that in itself was really helpful at the beginning there. So that's all up there on YouTube for people. But with your dad and being that one step behind, I think even for your viewers who are, they're in this place of, look at last year, look what we were doing last Christmas. You're like, I know, it was lovely. We had a lovely time, but that's not where we're at.
Yeah.
We're here
in
2020. So there's nothing wrong with reminiscing, right? There's nothing, and it's also kind of like you cannot manifest, create things from not being present, because that's where the power's at. So if I turned out and say, you know what, when I become this, and this, when I become successful, when I, next year I'm going to be doing this. Like if I'm like, you know what, my books are going to come out next year. And you're like, well, you need to write it today, Patti. You need to sit in front of the computer right now for the next 7 hours and knock those 3 chapters out.
Yeah.
So it's this aspect of having the vision for the future of us all hugging each other, us all having a party, us all, being so blessed at being able to travel, being able to sit with our friends in restaurants and all of that, visualizing that without negating this moment, which is also full of opportunities to develop ourselves, to develop our discipline, maybe even develop that idea that's maybe going to create some jobs next year, that's maybe going to change everything in insurance. I mean, there was a gentleman that was on. He's from Silicon Valley. He's had that epiphany. He was saying, you can get 200 million for a VR experience, and we've got the greatest minds up here in San Francisco in the Valley, and we're creating games. He says, we could be solving the housing crisis. We could be solving, things to do with our health insurance and all these different things and how we can look at stuff. So just kind of being in that space where you're, understanding it. Well, hold on, sorry. Oh no, it's the iPods that are flipped.
Oh, we lost Patti.
No, come back, Patti.
Energetic interference and disturbance.
It's okay. I think
what's really funny?
What?
Speaking of that, Deirdre Hayde and I are still in contact about the Patreon event, and she told me yesterday that on her, she's doing something this week, and their Zoom went out, and she was like, "There's something in the air, like it's the energy." So I'm like, "Look at that."
Well, we will be doing that Patreon event very soon. And I don't know if we're going to get Patti back, but it's totally fine. If you want to know more about Patti, you can check out www.pauseinjoy.com. We'll put the link to that in the summary. Also, she does have all of these tapping sessions and such on her YouTube that you guys can do. And it really is powerful. She's absolutely incredible. And she will be back on for sure. If you like today's episode, you can check out our episode with her, number 123, where we discuss techniques to release heaviness and invite lightness into our everyday lives. I hope this was helpful to you. If you haven't joined us on Patreon, it's a good time to do it. We do obviously have extra shows there, ad-free shows, but also our healing events are really where it's at. And we have a new one coming up with Deirdre Hayde, which is going to be unbelievable, really giving you access to these incredible experts that you may not otherwise have had. And we're a really fun group, our little heal squad. We really love seeing each other and being on that together. So I thank you guys as always for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for sharing the show with others. Obviously, this is our collective mission. It's not just me, it's Kelsey and Jeff who also work so hard and are so passionate about this. So if you can help us by spreading the word, that would be wonderful. Like I said, you can follow her on Instagram at Patti Penn, at Jeffrey Crane Graham, at Kelsmeyer 2. And remember, be nice people, make good choices, and be present.